Good morning, everybody. My name is Kristen Stram, and I'm team leader and associate broker here with Team Kristen Stram, Keller Williams. And we have Betsy Mitchell with me today, and she is one of our top listing agents. She's been with us almost 5 years, and she's a wealth of knowledge. So we're so happy and excited to get to share what we're seeing right now in our local San Antonio market. We wanted to do this because we get so many questions, especially right now with the market changing all the time and all the conflicting stories out there on social media and in the news. So we really want y'all to be in the know of what's happening here locally. So we want to touch on, is it a good time to buy or sell or invest? Are rates going to go down, and when, and how low are they going to go? And also, what are prices doing? You know, are prices going to crash, or are they going to kind of hold steady? So we want to cover all of that with you today, and also a little bit about what we're seeing on the rental market. So we're going to go ahead and get started and jump into what we're seeing right now in terms of just some good stats. So first one is, how long are homes on average taking to sell in San Antonio and the surrounding areas? Right now, that's 77 days. Is that a long time? You know, pre-COVID, we really a lot of times would be in that 50 to 60 day range. So it's really not too much higher than that, and that was more of a normal market. So we're really going back to more of a normal market. Secondly, what we're seeing right now as far as list price to sales price ratio, this is super important when you're thinking about selling or even buying, kind of what you can expect to maybe negotiate. We're seeing it to be at 93.5%. So I wanted to share that because lots of reasons. One is, as a seller, it's not common at this point for you to get 100% of your list price or 102% of your list price, which we saw to be pretty average in COVID, if not more. Prior to COVID, what we saw was really around that 97 to 98%. For many years. So we're a little bit below that. However, still, gosh, we're not 50% off or 75%, percent off or anything, or 25% off. So just something to really think about, just for expectation wise. And also wanted to share something we're seeing just out there right now is we're seeing a lot of really low ball offers. Betsy, what are you seeing that? What kind of offers are you seeing?
Yeah, we've had some that are almost outrageous. But I think what's happening are people are watching maybe the national news. It depends on what news feed they have, and they're seeing in other areas where there's been a huge drop. But that really hasn't happened here in San Antonio, and I was going to share a little bit about how many homes we have for sale here in San Antonio and what areas are actually selling faster than others. Because Kristen had shared the average days on market's about 4.6. But it's important to know where those areas are that are sitting for a longer time and which ones are moving faster too. So we have a great heat map from the San Antonio Board of Realtors that shows how many days these areas are selling or staying on the market. And you'll notice the red and orange areas, that's where they're moving faster than what our average is. And so we have those areas in the north central area, south of 1604. So we're kind of looking like Thousand Oaks area, also Hollywood Park, Chavano. There's some areas down west of 281 as well that are averaging only 2 months, which is awesome. The other ones, there's quite a few areas that are still averaging 3 months, so still a little less. And we've got an area out on the west side, some areas of Alamo Ranch, but most of those are sitting a little longer than 3 months, closer to 4 to 5 months. But all the areas in the blue, those are the areas that are just taking a little bit longer to sell. So the average in those are 5, 6, 7 months. Couple areas in the dark blue there that are 8 months plus. So those are struggling areas. But that kind of gives you a better idea where things are moving faster. So when you're working with your agent, you can know, if you're in one of these areas and the average days on market is only 2 months, you're going to have to be more aggressive with your offer. And that's why an offer coming in that's 50,000 below or something like that is really not going to work in that area. So that kind of gives you an idea what's for sale here. Now those are actually the October stats, so that's what we saw just a month ago. And then we also see a correlation between those and what the median sales price is too. And these are October stats, but these are year over year. So last year, October 22 to here. And there is a huge correlation between how long the homes are sitting and then how much they're selling for. And so if you look at that map, you're going to notice once again all those yellow and orange areas. That's where things are actually still continuing to gain value and appreciate. So it can be anywhere from, it has 0%, which is staying the same, 4%. There's areas that are appreciating 5 to 14% even here in San Antonio. And you'll see that that's a great area there of the north, the far north area, north central, northeast area of San Antonio, even all the way over near Lavernia and St. Hedwig. They are appreciating there. Now, the other areas we kind of talked about, where homes were sitting a little longer, that's where the sales price, they've lost a little bit of value. So those are your areas in the blue. And, you'll see an area up there in the northwest section, once again, kind of in Alamo Heights, a little bit of Helotes that has lost maybe 1 to 4% of their, what their value was of their home, and that's year out of year to remind you of that. And then there are a few areas that are a little bit darker blue that have lost, it says here 25%. So you'll notice that's a teeny little segment kind of downtown San Antonio. So that's not happening across the board at all. But hopefully just by looking at that, that's going to give you a good idea that most of our areas are either holding steady or they are gaining a little bit of value. And that's something that's important to hear because that's really not what you're hearing from a lot of the news media.
That's right. So let's see, to dive deeper into some of these stats, wanted to share a couple more stats that I thought were pretty good, pretty helpful to know. So looking at October 2022, the average sales price in San Antonio was $375. And looking at this October, the average sales price was $377. So definitely backing up with what Betsy just said, that again, we're not seeing a huge slash in prices. So homeowners out there, your homes are not just bleeding out. You're not losing all of that value that, gosh, most homes appreciate about 50% over the COVID time. So again, you're not losing all of that value, which is awesome. Some other stats by county, median price by county, Bexar County. So overall from last year to this year, the median price went from $302 and right now it's at $298. So it's about 1.4% decrease. Comal County, which we work in a ton, the median price in 2022 was $446,600. It has gone down a little bit this year to $430. And then Guadalupe County, so Cibolo, that area, Seguin, 338 was the average price median price last year, and this year it's at 325. So that one went down a little bit more at 3.9%. So hey, these stats show it's definitely a good time to buy and take advantage of that. And still for our sellers, again, you gained, most of you, 50% or more in COVID. So you're still coming out way ahead. I also wanted to mention that San Antonio is so much more affordable than all the other big cities in Texas. And we have this in Bexar County. Our average here, our median is 302. Travis and Harris counties, basically Dallas, Austin, and Houston, they're starting at $500,000 and more. There are areas that their median price is double what we are here in San Antonio. So for people that are thinking about moving to Texas just in general and have that flexibility, we still really have a market on that. Most affordable housing here. Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of great realtors in Austin that we work with, and a lot of clients looking at Austin and San Antonio. And like Betsy said, gosh, it's hard to beat our prices, and even there's so much here to do as well. There's just more and more coming as well, which is great. And we're close. We can drive up to Austin easily, or Braunfels or Bernie. There's just the whole country, lots of options, which is really great. So decreasing or increasing, I think we covered that pretty well. We're going to go and talk a little bit about average showings per listings. So to kind of give you a frame of reference, right now we're at about 13 showings before the home contracts. And the other stat for you to know is most homes are showing about 1 to 2 times a week. So as a seller, if you're thinking, oh gosh, am I going to have 20 showings a week? No, that's probably not going to happen. Now, we can't say it won't. Something I wanted to add in too that we were talking about is, y'all have probably all heard this, but price, location, and condition, that's always, what causes a home to sell. And so, even now in any market that we're in, that's a big, so that could be, if the home is, just super updated and looks, current and has all the bells and whistles that clients are looking for. Maybe has a pool, maybe has, that private green belt lot that everybody wants. Has everything, or it's priced incredibly well, maybe even under market. Maybe a seller just really wants to sell it quickly. Those kind of homes, you're probably going to have more than 1 to 2 showings a week. And you still could certainly, we're still seeing actually multiple offers. I think we had that on a couple homes about 2 weeks ago. That took some of those strategies. So that gives you kind of a good idea of what we're seeing out there right now. And now I want to talk about the big topic of interest rates. And really touch more on should I buy now, should I sell now, or should I wait till the spring, or wait till 2025, or who knows when. So first, wanted to touch on interest rates. About 2 weeks ago, we saw them get up to almost 8%. And so definitely we felt kind of the brakes seemed to kind of come out there, and it kind of slowed down a little bit. Right now, what we're seeing, and of course, rates are going to vary based on your credit score, and of course, lender and what they're offering. But what we were seeing right now on average is conventional loans are at 6.99%. FHA at 6.75%, and then VA is right at 6.99, 6.79 if you're a Texas Fed. Now that's if you're going to purchase the home and live in the home. So if you're looking at purchasing a second property to rent out, you're probably going to be closer to the 8%, maybe 8.25%, something like that. So now I will say this, there's always exceptions. One of our lenders said yesterday he just contracted a buyer with a 5.99% rate.
That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Now he said he did, lower a fee, or I think he paid $1,200 to help them get there. And there probably were other negotiations going on, maybe credits or, some buy down done by the seller for the buyer. So don't let that hold you back. The other thing that I wanted to touch on as far as rates go, we're hearing now is that rates are more than likely going to go down second half of next year, or it could even be January 2025. We're hearing they more than likely would go down somewhere in 5s. Again, nobody really knows this, and so we'll just keep updating y'all as we go. But back to, well, should I buy now? The rates, gosh, if I wait, Betsy, I might get a 5% rate, in the end of a year from now. So there's lots of things to think about there.
But you'll also be competing against so many more buyers. So then you're back in that situation where you're having to go way above the asking price to be able to find, get the home you want. So that's the downside of the waiting. And many times you'll end up just kind of eating up that money that you thought you were going to save by waiting for the rate to drop by having to go way above. And I think everybody was, they've been around the market we had previous to this, and that's all you heard about. So that's a real thing that could happen as well.
Exactly. Well, and then you're not going to, like right now, what's so great, for buyers is they're actually able to take a little more time for the most part and, negotiate to get some help with closing costs. And y'all may have heard of the 2-1 rate buy down, but that's something we see a lot of sellers paying for buyers where let's say the rate is like today, 6.99, they'll be able to get a 4.99 rate for a year, and then go up to 5.99, and then go up to 6.99 that third year. And of course, the idea is to refinance, before you get to that. And gosh, in COVID or even pre-COVID, I think it would be pretty tough to get a seller to, give you that that help there. Of course, we're seeing a lot of cash offers too. We're seeing all different types of scenarios out there. But I think, like Betsy hit the nail on the head. One of the big benefits of buying right now is you don't have to compete, and you can get the home that you want, versus probably paying way above, or even just losing that home, because you can't compete with maybe that cash buyer that's coming in from California or who, wherever they're coming in from.
And you don't have to panic buy either. So, we had a lot of that where they had people lined up, to show the home, and you went in, and if you didn't submit your offer, immediately, then you weren't going to be, a player in the game. So, that's another wonderful thing, because we're seeing a lot of people that have a first, a second showing even, and that wasn't happening before. Some buyers, they get a third showing, So they have quite a few days to decide, is this the right home? Sometimes they bring family, just all of that. So that's a tremendous peace of mind to have, I think, with the market we have right now.
Well, yes, yes, exactly. I mean, and we've had clients over the years that have bought in that, like you said, a panic buy, and then about 6 months later, they decide this didn't work because they didn't really have time to fully think about it and weigh it out. And then they're looking at selling again. And so that's obviously, there's, cost and just stress involved there, so this way you can actually, like you said, really take that time because it's your biggest purchase for the most part. As far as buying, we covered all the advantages there. Is it a good time to sell right now? Again, you have not lost all of that appreciation that we have gained over COVID. Now, if you've been in the home a year or less, I would say it's probably it's probably going to be tough unless maybe you bought that home and you put a lot of work into it, or maybe in those areas like Betsy was talking about, more north central, like Hollywood Park. But if you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction, and you're competing with the builder, and maybe you did a loan, you didn't put anything down, or maybe you put 3.5% down. A good rule of thumb that we've followed for years and years is typically you want to be in your home 3 to 5 years. Sometimes even a little longer, just to be able to break even. But again, we can always chat with you on that more, to kind of see where you're at. And I would say too, when you're thinking about, especially if you're a client that's looking to sell and buy, it's a great time for all we just covered. For you as a buyer, you're going to have actually more flexibility now to be able to, contract on a home possibly when you're not even under contract on your current home. We're seeing more contingencies that are being accepted, which we could not do that really during COVID. So I think there's a lot of benefits there. Oh, one last thing I wanted to share, we're seeing some clients do this right now, is that let's say you want to buy a new home, and let's say you have that 2 to 3% rate on your current home, and so you just don't want to get rid of it, which understandable. You're probably not going to get that, probably not going to see that rate again in our lifetime. So what we're seeing some clients do is they're renting out that current home, and then they're cash flowing because they're built, so they're keeping that home, they're building their wealth, and then they're able to purchase a new home. And there's lots of different ways if you're thinking, well, I would love to do that, but I need the money out of that home to put as a down payment. There's different options like a HELOC, or there's a cash out refinance, so we can kind of chat with you through that and even show you what yours would rent out for. So that way, if you are someone that says, I really need to get into a bigger home or a smaller home, or gosh, I'm tired of driving an hour and I need to be closer, don't feel like there's no option for you. Because we're helping some clients, they're coming out really, really ahead by taking that option. And I think, Betsy, you're going to talk a little bit about rentals, kind of what we're seeing in the rental market.
Yeah, my word of encouragement to people is always to just check to see if you can buy. Sometimes people have a legacy. Maybe everyone in their family has never had a homeowner, and it just plants something in their mind that they're just never going to own a home. There's no better feeling than when we work with people and they find out they can buy a home, and sometimes they can pay a little less than what they've been paying in rent for years and years and years. So don't be intimidated by that. We'd love to help you with that and connect you to the right people. But if you're in a position where it's just not a good time, and obviously there's a lot of people that need to rent for whatever reason. The stats right now, the average rental here in San Antonio is taking about 49 days. And what that really means is that they need to move fast on it. So if you find a really good deal or a really nice home, or it's close to where you work, or any of that stuff, you can't really just sit on it a week or two, because somebody else is going to see all those same things they're going to see, that rental unit. They're going to beat you out of it. And so that's one important thing to say. The average rent right now is $1,822 here in San Antonio. That is the average. So, it's important to know if you're renting something for less than that, you're going to get less home. You're not going to get a lot of fancy things in that home. It's just like when you buy a home, obviously, but sometimes that's important for renters to realize when they hear that average. They're not going to be able to move into a home that has maybe all the bells and whistles of a new home and granite and, all those kind of things. If you're looking for a home, and you need the 4 bedrooms, and you want it to only be 3 years old, and just all of, pretty plush, you're going to be looking probably closer to $2,400 or higher for, a rental unit like that. So I think our encouragement is just, to come to us with any of those questions you have. about real estate in general. And we want to be a resource for you and hope that the things we shared, with you today is really going to be of value. If you have questions and you'd like us to cover these in another segment, just let us know, because we'd love to find the data like we did today and share that with you.
Yes, well, thank you, Betsy. That's awesome, and it's always good to hear all of the stats, and they're changing all the time. So, like Betsy said, we're going to continue to keep you updated on everything, and we're here for you as your resource forever. So we tell our clients. So whether you're moving now or you're in your forever home, but you have questions, we're here. And so we appreciate y'all listening in today, and we'd love to answer more questions. And just reach out to us anytime, and go out there and have a great week. And we'll be back soon.